Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Peer Stories series with Spinal Cord Injury Alberta. We are having some of our amazing mentors and peers in our community share some of their stories about their experience with their injury, experiences with rehabilitation, and getting back out in the community and doing the amazing things they're doing. Our first, number one, the peer story mentor, number one, first ever, is Cobyn Murphy, and he's going to start sharing his story with all of you, and I hope you enjoy it. So first off, Cobyn, thank you for coming. So tell us a bit about yourself. What was Cobyn like before his injury?
I say before my injury, I was pretty much like just about every teenager out there, never home, always chasing girls, always outside. I played like pretty much every sport going on. I was a super active guy. I had tons of interests, tons of hobbies. I just kind of like being moving all the time. I was always, out snowboarding or out skateboarding or playing basketball. I just kind of never really sat down at all, and I definitely uh, had a pretty big sense of life. I just kind of wanted to do everything and try everything.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
so getting up to your injury. So I guess here's the question: how did it happen? And after your injury, like, what was your experience like in the hospital or during your rehabilitation?
Yeah. So my accident happened. It was in 2017, just 2 days before the start of my final year of high school, and I had a mountain biking accident here in Calgary, Alberta. I wasn't actually supposed to go to the park where I ended up visiting. I was kind of going to mountains just for a leisurely ride, and we decided to stop at the Olympic Park in Calgary. And I went up the hill once. We biked up kind of a side path and then came down. And there was a little jump park at the bottom just before the entrance. And I did a couple of jumps. There's no problem. And then they kind of progressed to a little bit bigger jumps. And then my third time going off this set of jumps, I um, hit the brim or the very kind of top of the landing part of the jump, and then I sprung forward over my handlebars, landed on my neck, and then just kind of changed my life in 10 seconds, super fast. Nothing that I was really doing was super reckless, just kind of a freak accident. And then I spent about 6 months in the hospital at Foothills here in Calgary. And the first kind of feeling I had was just really uncertainty. I had no idea what was really going on. I didn't quite know if even where I had broken the bone in my body. Like it was just maybe the doctors out of respect for trying to slowly ease me into what had happened. But I really was just confused at first. And I kind of thought that I just maybe broke a part of my body that maybe my back or something I wasn't very sure about. And I was gonna, recover, be out of the hospital in 2 weeks, but that obviously wasn't the case. And then that's kind of my very early thoughts of being in the hospital. Just a lot of confusion, a lot of fear because I really had no idea what had quite happened to me. I didn't quite understand spinal cord injuries like I do now. And yeah, that was kind of the first feeling I would say.
Yeah, so if you don't mind me asking, so with your injury level, like what kind of function do you have?
So right now I don't have a whole lot of mobility. I can move my shoulders, so I'm pretty good at doing the cha 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 dance. But other than that, I just have mobility of my neck and then shoulder shrugging, and that's about it for now. And it was a C4 complete injury, so it's pretty high up there, one of the highest parts of your cervical spine that you could break.
Yeah, definitely tough one to get through. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so going through your rehabilitation, what were some of the hardest things you experienced as you transitioned, like from rehab back to your home? So now you're getting out. Yeah, what were some things what are some of the things you knew before you transitioned, or wish you knew before you transitioned?
What I had kind of wish I had known was that recovery is kind of different in every person, and it wasn't maybe something that I was going to get a whole lot of, but I had been under the assumption that, I could rehab would be super easy just after 6 months, and maybe it might have just been my kind of optimism that I would start getting my mobility back, I would start walking, and then I also had a lot of questions too about just how I would um, kind of function in my life now when I did start to accept the injury. Just for example, like going to school, how was I going to use the washroom? Um, what would that look like? Who would be there with me all the time? And these were questions that I just slowly had to kind of figure out myself. I wish that maybe I had kind of had someone who had really gone through the same experience as me as well and was able to answer those questions. And for my parents too, they were super great. They were with me the whole time and kind of figuring out what would be the best for me too as I went along with this new way of living.
Oh, that's definitely much needed having that team. So this is
Yeah,
the one that we all think about. If you could do your injury, your rehab, your transition home, any of those things again, would you do anything differently? Like, what were some of the questions you wished you had asked while you were in there, but that you know now, but you didn't know then?
yeah, for sure. Some of the big questions were how even like would I be able to leave my house? Like there were questions just about going out in the community that I wasn't really understanding yet with, accessible vans or community transit, whatever it was. I knew that I still wanted to go out and do as much as possible, and I didn't really know how to do that. And I wish I just maybe had asked a little bit more of like what my my life could look like in the future, what was still possible, and I know they did have some people in the hospital who had those resources, but I think I didn't reach out as much as I possibly could have, and I feel like I would have been a lot more comfortable coming back home if I knew exactly what I could still do, basically.
No, and that's exactly it. It's they're there. It's just sometimes hard to ask for them, or sometimes it's hard to find. No, but just getting in there and asking them, right?
Yeah, totally.
Um,
Don't be shy at all, and just ask anything you're curious about. Like these are people that are here to guide you. They want to help you. They want to see you do well and have a smooth as possible transition. So just if I could give any advice, just don't be scared. Just anything you feel like you're curious about or you want to know, just shoot your shot.
mhm. Well, that kind of goes into my next question is, like, you're looking into somebody that has a C4 complete injury and and the same experience as you. What would the most valuable piece of advice, like what's the most valuable piece of advice you received and you would like to pass on?
I would say I didn't have as many maybe mentors as some other people have, but just to take each day kind of day by day, don't stress about what your future might look like, what you can still do. Just take it slowly. And then what I found really helped me was just you might not be able to do the physical things that you would love to do in the past, but there's still a lot of really cool things out there that you can do in life. And um, I think you just kind of find those things and then find your interests. And you might know there might be something that you had no interest in all before your accident, and all of a sudden you're kind of crazy about it. So I would say I really had any super valuable advice from anyone that reached out to me, but just from what I kind of learned and what helped my experience was really trying to find what kind of things you still like to do and just do them as much as possible, do them as much as you can, and that there is still a lot out there too.
No, there's definitely a whole another side to the world that we didn't even know about that our injury kind of helps us find, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you transitioned back home, you went through your whole rehab, and now you've learned your lessons and you're doing things. What does life look now for Cobyn?
Well, I'd say life now is it's pretty normal. I obviously I recognize I'm in a wheelchair, And there's things I can't do, but I'd say I have a pretty normal life compared to most of my peers. I still get to go on vacations. I still travel. I'm still in school. I'm studying university. I'm still able to go out and have fun, do things kids my age do, go to parties, go to the theater, go to casinos, whatever it is. I still am doing a lot of things that I would have been doing even if I wasn't in this situation.
So that'd be a good question that I want to ask actually for your experience. You lived outside of Calgary and you moved into Calgary to go to the university. What was that process like? Like how was the transition to the residence, but also with your classes at university? I would love to know a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I'd say with getting into university, I'd say endless questions. The first kind of thing was who was going to live with me, who was going to, spend full time, almost 24/7 looking after me because I need somebody there at nighttime, I need somebody there at daytime. And I was really fortunate that one of my caregivers was willing to come with me to try this new journey out to live in the city, to move from where we had been living in the past, which was a pretty small town. And then in the university, I've been really lucky. I've met with disability advisors at the University of Calgary, and they're super accommodating. Anything I need to make my experience easier, they've kind of been there for me. And I would just say if anybody else is in the same boat, that reaching out to these people is really helpful because they have seen other people in the same situation as us that have gone to the university. They lived in the residence. They've done what we were hoping to do, and they've been able to help them, and they'll be able to help you as well.
That's awesome. That's really good to hear. And I had a similar experience. I went back to university after, and they definitely, there's lots of resources there that you don't know exist unless you ask for them.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
well, thank you so much, Cobyn, for being our first peer stories, and I really hope that your story can help a lot of people just see the positivity and see that there's lots of things to look forward to still afterwards.
Yeah.
Is there any last things you would love to say, or anything that we kind of missed along the way?
Um, if I could just say anything in the last, I'd just say, never give up, and you never know what 1 year from now, 2 years from now might look like, and just understand that being in this kind of situation, you are a really strong person, you are a very valuable person, and that you bring a lot to the world and the people around you that you might not even be aware about, and just kind of remember that importance of yourself, and that you belong to be here just as much as anybody else in the world might. So yeah, I say that's kind of my closing words.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Cobyn.
Yeah, thank you, Derry, and I hope if anybody is watching this, just reach out to me if they need any help, they need any advice, or just want to talk, or a friend. I'm totally open to that, and I wish everyone well in their journey as well too.